Howdy peeps, hope you're doing well. So, it's been a little while since I've done a video, and this one, you know what, it's going to be a bit of a kind of wartime special, right? I know it might seem a bit inappropriate, especially with me sort of like half smiling, but there's a reason behind it. I'm not just like a bit, no, I probably am a bit, but let's not go there. Anyway, so it's all been kicking off, right, over in Russia and over in Ukraine. A bit convenient, isn't it? I mean, I'm just saying, let's just, just take a step back from everything that we've gone through in the last couple of years, right? I find it real interesting, right, the way things have panned out politically, how the media have, mainstream of course, have thrown their oar in and made themselves the arbiters of truth. And well, of course, with that affects everyone's personal life within their circumstances as to how they want to deal with things. We've had the browbeating Karens who were generally unhappy about anyone doing anything ever, so it was a brilliant opportunity. They, it's like, oh yeah, we all got told to stay at home, anyone going out, and was people doing things that they shouldn't have been doing, or you could argue either way for that one. And a lot of the time we're being told what to do by a government that didn't really know. And look, it would be a tough call, right? It would be for anyone. Like, what do? It's like, well, you got this thing going around and you don't know how to deal with it, and you haven't necessarily got the medicines or the equipment to deal with that kind of an issue. So what do? Well, and not only that, politicians and the media weren't the only ones throwing their oar in. I'd just like to remind everyone that no such thing as your friendly coppers. They're not your friends, right? I'm just saying, they're you could argue for doing their job, right? Like the soldiers did back in the 1940s over on the non-allies, shall we say. Yeah, they were just following orders. They were just doing what they were told. Oh, we didn't know any better. No, they did. They knew better. But it's easier to fall in line, isn't it? Rather than stand up against something that your morals might go against. Personally, I can't do that. I wouldn't be able to deal with that mentally. It's something that I wouldn't want done to me. I wouldn't do the same unto others, right? I'm just sort of saying. So it's gone from absolute madness to, oh, you're going to need this to go to these places, you've got to have 2 of these, or you might need a 3rd, potentials for 4th and a 5th. And if you get the sniffles, as it were, right, then you got to stay indoors and not see anyone, not go out, trying to contain things, I suppose, right? Well, all of that has now been scrapped. All of it, gone, finished, done, done and dusted, right? Nothing ever happened, right? And then just as all this kind of slowly comes to an end, and sure, you could argue that things might have been building up between Ukraine and Russia. They've never had a fantastic relationship. If you do a bit of history, you'll see what that air quotes relationship really was. And I've got to say, it doesn't fill me with any confidence whatsoever having the guy in charge over here in the United Kingdom. And I wouldn't be any more confident if I was over in the US. Definitely not if I was in Canada, right? I don't have any confidence in any of them being able to do anything competently, because they haven't done anything competently other than swerve, divert, just push the issue to one side and blame something else. Oh, look, it's a donkey. Let's go and have a look at that. And it surprises me the amount of people that will just take it. They'll just accept that for what it is and just like, I don't know. I mean, I've got this thing. I say this a lot, and that is that there are a lot of fucking stupid people out there. There are, you know. Now, I'm not going to go into the sort of levels of what I'm talking about in terms of stupidity. I mean, just generally, right? I suppose to be a bit kinder and to be a bit polite, even though it's too late, I've said what I've said. They are still fucking idiots. I'm not taking it back. But a lot of people lack common sense. Or as the saying goes, common sense ain't that common. Because it's not, right? Now, we've had several jokes, myself and a couple of the lads, about, oh yeah, all these 24, you know, like the sort of younger generations, early 20s, early teens, mid 20s and all that. You know, they're going to get sent out to, they're going to get deployed, get signed up for draft, right? If this all goes a bit peak-tong, which potentially it still could do. I mean, at the moment it's nothing major, but nothing to say that it couldn't go very wrong for everyone very quickly. But it also kind of concerns me the mentality of a lot of the youngsters now. You know, I mean, the truth be told, and, you know, I've seen mass, you know, a lot of large corporations do this en masse, right? And that is, they give high power roles to low experienced individuals who really are not cut out to do the job. They haven't had the training, they haven't had the life experience. And you could say, well, the only way to train people is to drop them in the deep end. Now, to a point, I'd say, yeah, okay, yeah, fair, right? I get it, right? You can't hold people's hand every step of the way, okay? I get that. But if it did come to that, if it did come to the draft actually becoming a thing, well, I'm sure a lot of you would expect me to say, right, well, these people have been banging on for equal rights and, you know, constantly demoralising men and giving them shit all the time. Send them out first if they can do a better job. Off you go, have fun. Don't hurry back. Especially if you've got the attitude that fits that type of individual, if you know what I'm saying. They've usually got brightly coloured hair, generally abusive. They despise anything with male genitalia, from my observations anyway. And look, I get it, it is individual cases, right? It's not everyone, right? I'm just saying. Ah, fuck it, send them out first. Bollocks, there you go. Anyway. Probably upset a few characters. Why not? Why not? It's always been men that got deployed first. Well, men and boys, let's be right about this, let's be precise. It's always been men and boys that get signed up and sent out to die first. So why don't we put the shoe on the other foot for a change if they can do such a good job? Alright, you could say, oh, you just don't like the opposite gender. It's like, no, it's not that I don't like opposite gender. There's individuals within certain air quotes groups that they what's the word, they identify, and I'm not talking about people identifying as attack helicopters or them, they, all of that, gonna say it for what it is, crap, right? Doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. When you get sent out to the front line and you're getting shot at, you can identify as an attack helicopter as much as you want. That 50 cal is still going to put holes in you, regardless of how you identify or how you feel about a situation. Does not care, right? Now, the other side to all of this, because, you know, I've, generally speaking, I've been quite a sort of red pill channel in terms of, you know, the things going on between men and women, and you could argue for, air quotes, unfairness and stuff like this, and the potentials of what can happen. So when, generally speaking, when one country invades another like that, you'll get, obviously, subjective again, every individual is going to be different, but you're going to get those that will, I suppose, jump into bed with the enemy, as it were. You know, this is the same people that are, they're coming into your country and they don't have necessarily good intentions. Now, you could argue lots that, you know, maybe in this particular instance, the soldiers don't even want to be there in the first place, but back to what I said earlier, just following orders, right? It's just their job. Right. But what tends to happen, and we've seen this time and time again, that is what happens to the other half of the population that are not the fighters, that are not the protectors. Well, sadly, and it is sadly in a lot of cases, there is a percentage of women that will literally sleep with the enemy. And I mean that in the literal sense. Now, of course, because it's wartime and people want to seek refuge from the situation. I'm trying to think of the actual name at the moment. It will come to me in a minute anyway. I suppose, yeah, just refugees, I suppose, yeah. Now, the sort of, depending how you want to look at it, the kind of potential for positive side of all this is that side of the world has not been westernised. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's quite simple. They're not as superficially narcissistic as a lot of women in the West, which for guys is a good thing, because a lot of the time, you know, this is one of the things that I've always said about, like, you know, working at relationships, finding an actual traditional woman, rather than the crazy messes that we have running about these days, who have everything that they could possibly desire for and yet still never happy. Well, out on the other side of the world, it's been different for quite a long time, and there are, you know, content creators such as, oh my god, I can't believe his name's just slipped, Turd Flinging Monkey, and he would probably argue this one with me, and there's the potential for him to win, but it's always down to it's a subjective matter. It is down to the individual. Some people will become more acclimatized to the superficiality narcissism, or superficial narcissism that the West sees. And it's not just the West. When I say the West, I'm actually kind of including at least the UK in that. I don't want to go as far as saying Europe, because I don't know the full situation of what the relationships are like between men and women in terms of long-term relationships and willing to work at them. But I'm pretty sure that any refugees coming over from, should that happen, I don't even know if that's going to be a thing. I mean, there's the potential for it. The reason I say that is because some of my Croatian friends, their parents, when it kicked off between Croatia and Serbia years ago, their parents actually fled for a while and then returned when it had all died down and Croatia regained control and all that. Now, they had an option. They could have stayed in the country that was giving them the support that they needed, you know, during that time. But there were also a lot of relationships that blossomed as a result of all of that. You know, I suppose, you know, you could argue for lots of different things. But in that sort of respect, I think it's possibly something that the other side of the world needs to see again. You know, the non-superficial, the non-money driven, the non... I mean, I'm not going to go as far as saying non-psychopathic. I'm pretty sure that everyone out there has got a little bit something wrong with them in one way or another, psychologically. But I think it's something that would be a bit of an eye-opener. And then it would be like, I suppose, that it would be the shoe put on the other foot, whereas people love running around saying, oh yeah, you're some sort of bigot or whatever. Because that is what would happen. You know, it'd be like, well, you're not dating women from your own country because, oh, well, I'll tell you why, because a lot of the time it's not worth the fucking hassle, if truth be told. You know, the juice really ain't worth the squeeze. And if truth be told, I know probably now more guys that are in long-term relationships with Eastern European girls rather than British, English, you know, or whatever. There's a reason for that. It's because a lot of the Eastern European and, you know, sort of like Balkan area, from the Balkans, they have a different mentality. They have a different viewpoint on life. You know, it's not all about, you know, there's this BS that we see all the time on like, you go on a lot of women's Instagram now, and, you know, it's just got personality disorder written all over it. It really has. And they don't understand why, you know, it's, I mean, I even if you explain it to them, it's your fault, right? There's pointless even explaining it to them. But I think in a way, maybe that's what it needs. Maybe that's what it would take to get people to open their eyes and see things from a different perspective, and to see that the way that they live their life, the reason that they can't find a real man is because they are so out of control, they are so self-centered, that no man actually wants to be around them full time anyway, because in that sense the juice ain't worth the squeeze. Just saying. Anyway, so that'll do for now. If you guys have got any thoughts, comments or opinions on this one, feel free to jot them down as always. It would be good to hear back from you guys. I generally speaking, you tend not to. Is that because you're asocial, or is it because you're antisocial? It would be nice, you know, a bit of back and forth with you guys. Help me out, man. Help a dying channel, like, you know, keep my neck above water. Give me a reason to carry on producing content, you know. Anyway, hope you all enjoy the weekend. I hope the sun is shining brightly for the masses and we all have a little bit of good weather. And until the next one, stay cool, stay free. Peace out.